And this week on Drag Racing Live, we welcome husband and wife racers Steve Foley and Brooke Foley, two accomplished NHRA Sportsman competitors who proved that racing really can be a family affair. Steve battles in stock with his COPO Camaro, while Brooke carries on legendary Warren family tradition. That's right, we're going to talk about that in Top Dragster. And they'll join us to talk racing, winning, family competition, and see what happens when two serious racers share the same household.
Can be
So,
a
Steve
family
and Brooke,
affair.
welcome.
Steve battles in stock with his COPO Camaro while Brooke carries up.
Hey, John, can you put us on mute there, brother? Thank you. Oh, so, hey, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having us.
So great to have you. We were, we met you down in June. We were at the HPX conference there in Charlotte, which was a super fun time. And we talked, Miss Kay and I were talking. We said we got to get him on the show and find out what's going on with these guys. So really great to have you with us. Well,
Thank you. Yeah, we had a good time at the show. Obviously it's great to meet you guys, and like I said, just thanks for having us on. It's going to be a lot of fun.
you bet. Well, tell us a little bit about how the season's been going since then. That was early June. How are things going?
That was June. So actually, when we left the High Performance Expo show, I took a buddy's car, went some bracket racing. I took Neil Hobbs. He's got a little Chevy 2 Nova. I took it to London Dragway, and we ran for like 10,000 on the top bulb, and I think it was maybe around 3 or 4,000 on the bottom. And to my son, he ran juniors. That's where I'm from originally, is Kentucky. So went up there and got to see my family. My son raced. He won a couple rounds, and I I got down to the quarters in top bulb and semis in the other one, and got beat, and then ended up breaking the car. Just a lot of drama, but we have a lot of fun doing it. But then I left and went to Gatlinburg. A good friend of mine, Adam Capps, and his family brought Brooke down to Gatlinburg, and we spent 3 or 4 days vacationing. And then we went on over to Bristol for the national event. I think I got beat second round. Bruh, they did not have top dragster there, did they?
No, so I was spectating and crew chiefing.
Yeah, they usually have it every other year, so they didn't have it there. So she didn't get to race. And then I went on up into Norwalk, run the double divisional there. I think I quarterfinal one day. But the car just wasn't really good. It was up and down a little bit. Even at Bristol, it's up and down. Because I quarterfinaled I semi'd at Charlotte National. And then it was kind of not as consistent as it should be. So kind of left Norwalk, brought it back, and Darren Poole Adams has had it, and he's been tuning on it and getting it ready for the fall to finish up.
Sounds great. When you said it was up and down a little bit, did you figure out what that was? Was some of the suspension or timing?
No, suspension's really good in it. That car, a lot of cars are just work really well, and some you really have to work at them to get to work well. That car works really well to be a COPO 9-inch tire running in the nines. It doesn't spin very often. And in order to win, it don't matter how bad the track is, you have to go down it. So we try to set that car up to always go down the track, whether it's good or bad. That way, when the track does get bad, we got an advantage. So so yeah, we got it back. Did some work on it. Darren's had it, so I think he's figured out some things on it. So he's going to take it, I think, to Indy and Bowling Green, and then I'll grab it back off him and finish up the year.
Sounds good. I'm not going to ask you what the changes were. That's
Yeah,
top secret.
that's right.
Well, excuse me. And Brooke, NHRA describes you as being from a family where almost everybody raced stock or super stock, including your grandfather, the legendary Bobby Warren, who I have met, by the way. What a great man. And when I was reading the mags, in the 70s, that's super stock to me. Bobby Warren, Dave Bortman and stuff. But you chose Top Dragster. Tell us about growing up in the Warren family and why you ultimately went your own direction with a dragster.
Well, as soon as I came out of juniors, really, I knew I wanted to do something other than stock and super stock because my dad's whole family, the Warren side, my mom's whole family, they all race stock and super stock. And I was like, there's no point in having everybody in our family all in one class. So when I got out of juniors, I had a 70 Nova that I ran in hot rod and super street for a while. And then I decided I wanted to try a full size dragster. So I ran super comp for a few years. And then I really decided, I'm not a big super comp person. So decided we're going to do some top dragster racing. I've been racing top dragster for the last, about 7 years. And I think that's my home. It's where I'm most comfortable at.
Well, it's a great class because is it? Do you? I'm not sure right where you fall performance wise. Are you in the kind of the 7.0 category? Or are you one of those crazy folks way down in the low sixes? And
No,
do you ever have a challenge where sometimes it's hard to get in a field?
it is, up until the beginning of this year, or really about March, April of this year, I had just been running, all motor, naturally aspirated. And I was running, 740s, 750s, and for all of our divisional races, never had an issue, but I had to pick and choose what national events I wanted to race, and um, tried to qualify for the Baby Gators and couldn't get in, and we decided, we wanted to do something different. So we went with a baby blower combo this year. We've been trying to get all the kinks worked out. Been kind of a lot of trial and error because it's something completely different than what we've been doing. Um, I'm still just running like 720s or so right now. As long as I'm in that 32 car field, it doesn't matter to me where I'm at.
Right. That's fantastic. Yeah, well, I grew up in Pro Mod, or early top sportsman, then Pro Mod, and absolutely, it was folks doing the same thing there. With the door cars, of course, and just so you can get in the field, and then the slowest guy or the fielder and gal obviously could do some damage on race day, and then they finally said, "Heck with this, let's do quick 8, and then let's do Pro Mod," right? But
Right.
it was funny. NHRA had, it was NHRA at the time had those. I forget what they called it. It was like super top dragster. They had a name for. I think they called it super eliminator or something back in the day. But it was like all the blown and high dollar like nitrous cars. Like
Mhm.
it was pretty crazy though. It's almost like not quite top alcohol dragster, but kind of pretty close. But
Yeah.
well, we'll see which way they decide to go. Well, Steve, let's talk a little bit about the COPO. You won the 2024 Division II Rockingham race in stock, right? With the 23 COPO Camaro.
That's
Reached
correct.
another final at South Georgia last year, and I'm probably missing one or two. What's special about that car and the factory stock style combinations that you're racing today?
Yeah, we runnered up at South Georgia. She actually won that event in Top Dragster. So we was trying to get two winners in there, but yeah, like I said before, some cars are just really good and they work really good, and the longer you drive them, the more you know what they do. So that's just it's a really good car. It doesn't matter who drives it. It just does this thing, and it's a very winnable. You can win in it.
Mm-hmm.
That car's good. It works good. It's a fast combo for the class. It's one of the best combos in the copos today. So you can run fast under the index if you need to. And then if you got a heads up, it's that helps out. And then if not, the ET is fast enough where the race is always pretty much laid out in front of you, so that helps as well.
Oh, that's awesome. Is it a challenge to drive those cars because there's no engine? Everything has to be in the stock location, right? So
That's correct.
correct me if I'm wrong, but there's no engine setback or anything that you can so
That's
you got a
correct.
lot of weight up front, and
Mhm.
that takes weight off the back of those big slicks, right?
Well, the good thing is the combo we run is aluminum block, so there's not a whole lot of weight up front, which helps to transfer weight to get to the rear slicks. But no, it drives itself. We just can do some shock adjustment, and it drives itself. Really, really fun car to drive.
Awesome. Well, let's between two racers, two race programs at a minimum, you guys probably have a few more cars to drive and lifetime around drag strips. There has to be a story we haven't heard. What's the funniest, craziest, or most ridiculous thing that's happened to the two of you at a racetrack or trying to get to one?
And we have a a bunch of stories, that's for sure. I remember one time we had it was me and Brooke and my father-in-law Jeff, and we decided to go to Fayetteville to test, and we just got a stacker and a toter home, and we was trying it out, and we pulled out the gate going home. Everybody's waving over at the fence, and my father-in-law said, "Why is everybody waving at us?" I said, "Jeff, we just bought us a stacker, man. They waving at us, telling us bye." So I started waving back, but really what happened is the stacker come off the hitch, and the stacker trailer was at the gate back
Oh
there. We had
no.
left it kind of crossway on the highway. Here we are going down the road, which just the toter saves flagging us down. So yeah, that's one of them. And then things can get hectic as well as a racetrack. We were at VMP and had my kids, and Brooke was still in. And the way we kind of run our program with her, she really just concentrates on driving. She knows what she needs to do. She goes out there, does a burnout, gets her breathing right, stages the car the same, lets go of the button, and then what she needs to do down the track, she'll do it. Jeff, my father-in-law, pretty much sets the car up and dials her in. We'll discuss it. And then I'll set her delay box up. So she never knows she never knows what's in it. I just tell her to drive what she feels and bump if she needs to, and it's always worked out. So we're deep into elimination. She's probably quarterfinals, um, and I'm still in the stock quarterfinals, and Jeff is still in the stock quarterfinals. So we're all three out in the staging lane, still in. So we're running back and forth. We got the kids. My mother-in-law Denise is taking care of the kids, so she's running back and forth. And everybody kind of just had to do their own thing and gas up their own stuff. Because we're in a big family, so everybody's we're helping each other. So um, Jeff ended up getting beat at 8 cars. Brooke went on to win, and I went on to win.
Hmm.
But I remember Bobby. I know how much he loved his wife, and he called me that. I'll never will forget it. It stuck with me. He called and told me. He said, "You better enjoy that. That's one thing that I never got to do. Was my wife was stand in the winner's circle picture
Mhm.
with her as a racer as well. Together. So that's one of my best memories. Us in the winner's circle together. So and then, if Jeff don't get beat, we probably don't end up in the winner circle together, because really when he lost, it kind of freed up the things where he could help me and her.
Right.
I never want to see him lose.
Sure.
But but when we discussed it, I said, yeah, one of us really needed to get beat for the other two to win. So yeah, it's one of my greatest memories, always will be for sure.
Awesome. That sounds like a great day. Brooke, any
Yeah.
wild things come to mind that maybe came to mind while Steve was talking?
Um, he causes a lot of extra work sometimes, especially for my dad.
Uh,
A friend of ours told my dad, he said, he don't need nothing in his hands but a steering wheel. He said, otherwise it's gonna be downhill from there. So there's always, it's always something to work on, something to do. We always have multiple cars going at one time. But we all work together really good to try and make it as seamless and smooth as possible.
Well, it
Yeah,
sounds like
Jeff is man, he's great. He's great. He's on top of everything. We'd be lost without him for sure.
yeah, it sounds like a great family operation.
Mhm.
Well, Brooke, you're kind of doing great in Top Dragster this year. You won last year, and you're in the thick of things this year. At the four wides, let's see, you qualified. I got this number. You qualified in a 7:14. So was that your best time in the car? Or
Um, no, we ran like some low 7.0s.
Mhm.
Um, like I said, that was the first race that we had on the blower
Got it.
motor. So we were really just kind of trial and error, we didn't know what in the world it was going to do. We had some 1/8 mile passes on it, but we didn't have any 1/4 mile passes on it till we got there. So we were just, glad that it qualified, and, just kind of went from there.
Yeah, we're running minimum boost right now. If we need to get in or speed it up, we can do it and probably get down in the, depending on the weather, we can probably get down in the 660 to 680 range, pretty easy. So
Right.
but we like being the slow car,
Yeah.
we like being the slow car, and especially for the faster cars at our mile an hour, they can't drive us on top end. And the way she sets up, the way she hits the tree, I put her up against anybody. She's just really well letting go, and she's going to be double O when she misses. She's going to be mid high teen or 20 at worst usually, and then we get a good car under. She's going to put that thing dead on. So we're really setting up 20 package all the time. At worst.
Wow.
So and she
Wanna
makes it
win some
work.
Browns?
Yeah. She makes it work a lot, and then also going at that, at a slower speed, at the 720 range. It doesn't matter how bad the track gets. Like I said before, the worse it gets, the better advantage we have, because we're going down it. Where the 6, 10, or 12 car might not. And then when that package is that tight, 20 and 30 total, that's tough to get in. So
Right.
we kind of race the odds.
That's
And she
amazing.
does a really good job, as you can see. I mean, when she gets in the car, when she gets in the car, she's one that I wouldn't bet against. I'll tell you that.
God, what are the plans for the rest of the year for Top Dragster and for your efforts, Steve?
So we just finished Cecil County. Just got back from Cecil County last night. Take a few weeks off. Think we're gonna run the double national open at Darlington, the double divisional at Rockingham, the Rockingham national event. Just kind of see how that goes, and if we're in a position where we need to go out west, finish up some stuff or whatever, we will.
Go there if you have to.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm about the same boat. I'm going to get the car and do some testing on it, and then we're going to head up the national at Rockingham. I'll enter it, and we'll go there, and then we'll go back to Texas for the Jegs All Stars. I'll be competing in that as a blocker this year, where I won it last year. So we'll go back there, and I'll run a divisional there, a national, and All Stars. So I'll get 3 races in there, and then we'll come back and do the Rockingham double divisional, and then I'll still have one more national to claim or so, I think, if I need to. So again, we'll see where Brooke's at. We'll see where I'm at, and then if we need to fly west, that's what we'll do.
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, it's a strategy game, isn't it? More than that's not just racing.
That's correct. That's correct.
We gotta do what we gotta do on our side of the world over here, and then if we need to go west, we will.
Yeah, we went once. She had a chance. We both had a chance to win a division. So we flew out and had a really good time. Went to Vegas, had a really good time. So it's about, I don't know, probably
It's 2020.
Yeah, it's 2020, about 6 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, when you guys, when one of you has a great weekend, the other one may go out early, how's that ride home work? Are you a sounding board, a coach for each other, or do you sometimes just leave the subject alone? How does that work? Husband and wife racing, and then what are your thoughts?
I feel like we all work really well. We work really well together. This is a group effort. I just won the Cecil County Divisional this past weekend, and
Congrats.
Thank you. And Foley wasn't able to be there for the first race. It was just me and my dad, and it's been a while since it's been just me and my dad racing together. But I was on the phone texting back and forth with him, calling back and forth. He asked me what I had in my delay box. I told him I had no idea, because I don't ever look at it, because he's always the one setting it up. So I had to bite the bullet and actually look at it. And we had to go from there. Got a good game plan as far as, lane to lane, how we needed to set up, and that seemed to work out really well for us. And then,
Yeah, I was an emotional wreck. I can tell you that. This weekend, I was on the way there, so I was listening to it on live timing and on YouTube there, and man, I was anytime one of us wins, we all win.
Mhm.
So like I said, on the ride home, it's just she won. Even if I'd have got beat, if I raced and got beat, it was successful. I
Mhm.
love watching her win. And same thing with Jeff. When one of us wins, we all win. We're for each other. So there's no, I would say, negativity or you went out first round, this and that. We're always with a positive attitude and always there backing each other's efforts, in doing this. So, but yeah, it's just and same thing when I won Dallas. She flew out and I won, and seeing them come and my little boy give me a hug and tears running down their face, that meant more to me having them there than me actually winning the race.
Sure.
So when you have your family there and your friends, my buddy Neil was there. Um, that's what makes it special. Um, when you have all these people to call you and they're for you and you win and they're calling and texting and just blowing up your social media and congratulating you and that's what it's about. It, that's the race is it takes all day to do it or all weekend, and then when you win, you got that. For her it's 7 seconds and it's over, and for me it's 9 seconds, and you're on cloud nine for just a second and then, start coming down. But having the family and the support and hearing about it days after and weeks after and people just congratulating you, that's what makes it very special. So we're always here. Even my good friends, when I see them win, it's a win for us as
Mhm.
well. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, you're
Yeah.
you both race, in a game literally of inches and maybe less than an
Mhm.
inch sometimes. I've personally announced races that were zeros across the screen,
Mhm.
right? Once or twice. But they both won by very tiny margins. And Brooke, I guess Brooke earlier this year got the best losing package in the NHRA with a 039.
That's right.
Where was that? At Charlotte, Fort
How about
Wise.
Charlotte? Yeah, that's Charlotte.
Gosh.
Sure was.
And that's a
Yeah.
race you lost, unfortunately. But
Mm.
just how precise sportsman racing has become, it's ridiculous. And Steve, do you see those same kind of packages in stock, although it's index based, of course?
Yeah, you'll still run into some good packages in stock. I think the difference in the margins in stock versus top dragster is the electronics, the stuff you can use in the top dragster. For example, I mean we're on 9-inch tires.
Yeah.
We're not as we can't get our cars as good as what we could with our dragster. So you can see the tighter packages on her side. Plus, everything has got so much better from the tires to even the track surface, the compound that they use, the timing system itself. That makes racing really tight. And like you said, Brooke was 39 total and got beat, but we weren't trying to be 39 total. We just missed the dial in a little bit. We're set up to be 15 and 20, and we missed it a little bit, and somebody snuck in there and beat us. And that's what that's kind of what we do. We set up a game plan and we execute it. And I told Brooke in the finals because when she run this weekend, I wasn't there, and I'm usually the one that's there to will just tell her to take a deep breath, calm herself down, and relax her. So I wasn't there, and she was running, in my opinion, and Bobby Warren's the best that ever done it, but with Peter Biondo. So, and she had never raced Peter before, and you know what you're going to get when you run Peter. He's going to lay something down really well. But I told her, I said, look, don't go out there trying to beat Peter. I said, you got a game plan. Do what we've always done. It's not your first time you've been in this situation. I said, we got a game plan, execute it, and you're going to win, you know. And I said, don't go up there trying to beat him. You go out there, lay something down, and make him beat you. Make him get inside of it. And if he does, go shake his hand, tell him good job, and hug his neck, you know.
Yeah.
And that's what we did. Really great race. And her win lot was just fortunate to come on. And Peter's the same way. I think Brooke said when she got out, Peter hugged her neck, told her she was one heck of a driver, and she said she knew she had made it in drag racing when Peter Biondo told her that. You know, so you know, just like I said, I kind of get emotional thinking about it now. She's come such a long way in a short period of time. When I first met her, she loved racing. She loved some super comp. It just wasn't what she was best at doing, I would say, you know. It's a lot of top end driving. She drives the finish line, but I mean, she don't drive it like a LaBouche, you know, but there's not many people that does. Me and Jeff talked, and I had a dragster, and she had one as well. And I said, well, just put her in my dragster and let her run. Cause I had a bracket dragster, you know. So put her in my dragster and let her run top D and see if she just likes it, you know. Because he wasn't going to take the 890 setup off of hers, and that's what we did. And I think she got her license at Atlanta at a national open and runnered up, and her first ever race in top D. So she was hooked then. And then I think we came back and we ended up going to Virginia, but she had to have a 20-layer suit. We didn't have one at the time, you know. And a good friend of ours, Jeff Strickland, he was running in Top Dragster too, and he was staying at the shop in between races. And he said, I got an extra suit. He said he called his wife and she shipped it, and Brooke got it. We went to VMP, and she ended up beating Jeff at the semis and went on to win the race, and then went to the national the next week and beat him again. And all he had to do was win that round to win a world championship. And we
Wow.
don't even supposed to be in the race because she's wearing his suit, you know.
Right.
So you know, just that's just part of the racing family. He would rather give her the suit and her beat him than her not race and him win a world championship, you know.
Right.
But he's also won several world championships. We know that. But
he was actually the first person that called me the time I got back up to the winter circle this past weekend. Had a phone call from Alabama, and it was him
yeah,
congratulating me.
That's so great. And what it is a great family, isn't it? And the Beyondos were
Mhm.
amazing. I mean,
Oh
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
once I was at announcing at Budds Creek and they were stuck there. I gave them all a ride to the hotel and got to chat with them one night.
Yeah, you can't beat those guys. I've known Peter for a while, and mainly through bracket racing, kind of how it started. And he threw the fling it together, and I worked it a little bit when Kyle Seipel was around. You know,
Mhm.
miss him, but got to know them guys pretty well, and just I mean just great role models. You know.
Mm.
But yeah, and then stock is the same way. You know, I try to set up pretty tight. I try to keep from beating myself. But I'll set up mid teen to low 20 and try to put the thing dead on. If you get inside, you beat me. That way, if I
Mhm.
do catch it, I'm still green double low. And if I miss it, I'm in the 30 range or so,
Right.
and I still have a shot, you know. And then I also can set up, we have, you know, I can move some RPMs if I feel like I need to be good on the tree here and try to put it double low or something. I can do that
Right.
as well, or, you know, vice versa. And it's kind of way I drive as well. So kind of race the odds, I guess you would say, and it's worked well for us.
Well, it makes sense because 001 is just 2 thousandths away from a red light.
Yeah, that's exactly right. You
Yeah.
know, it looks good on the, and you know, when you're setting up 20 and you leave, you think you're 20 or 001, that ain't good. It looks good on paper, but that ain't good, you know. And that's kind of what we found out this weekend. We got by it with Brooke, I think third round. She had run the left lane and tested a little bit and kicked it like 1 thou red, and then she would go back to the right. And she was like 006 to 009, you know, 10 range running there. So obviously she don't really care what lane she runs, but she got her qualifying runs and was in the right lane the first 2 rounds, I think it was, wasn't it? She was like 009 and 007, I think, is her first 2 hits. And so then she got put in the left and she was 002, but she was about 2 or 3 above, and that was our lucky round, I feel like. And when I started looking at the data and talking to Jeff, we realized that the left lane at Cecil County was tighter and slower, you know.
Hmm.
So when we started figuring out the numbers, we were about 8 thou to 10 thou in reaction time, and we were about 100th and a half to 200 slower, you know. So we went to the left lane. We had to change our box and dial up, and then when we went back over to the right, you know, we'd roll it back out and dial down, you know. So noticing those things really help as well, you know, in a
Yeah.
race. Because when she when she ran Peter in the finals, I told her, I said she was 2 and 001, but her window spread was probably about 4 thou, 3 or 4 thou, and I said, I don't know, just throw about 4 thou in or so, and you'll be fine. Drive what you feel, you know. If you miss it, no, you can get extra bump, you know.
Mhm.
And but she says she felt like she hit it and did her normal deal and come up on the right side. So
That's amazing. Well, Brooke, walk us through that final round with Peter, if you would, just your impressions of the whole thing, and then after that, we'll go to John and bring in some questions from the gang out there.
I never look at a ladder. I never look at a qualifying sheet, only other than to see if I'm at least number 32. Um, other than that, I don't want to know who I run. I don't look to see who I run. I find out when I pull up in the staging lanes. The less I know, the better, the less I have to worry about, the better. So I didn't know I had to run Peter until I got up to the staging lanes, and he rolled down the hill. I was like, all right, this is about to be interesting. Because I mean, I've grown up knowing, everybody knows who Peter Biondo is. I've ran the flings, which he puts on a great show with the flings. But like Foley always tells me, and we've been telling our son since he started running juniors, just race your race in your lane. Don't worry about it doesn't matter who's beside you. If you don't do your job, you're not going to win if you don't do what you're supposed to do. Um, so I just, we set up like we talked about, and I ended up rolling 2 little thou extra in because I was like, I know it's a final round. I'm usually pretty calm. I feel like I'm the calmest in a race car than I am anywhere. I usually don't get worked up, usually don't get nervous. I just out there to have fun, do what I love to do. But I rolled in 2 extra little thou because I was like, just for good measure. And, I'm glad I did because I was 003. And Peter was 007. We're both like 1 or 2 above. It was 6 thou at the stripe. Um, but
Wow.
Peter and his wife Emily both came up to me before the round, gave me a hug. And then Peter, when we turned off the track and we both stopped, Peter was talking to me. He's like, "Yeah, I'm proud of you. Good job. You're a heck of a driver." Then he even came up to me again in the stage or back at the winner circle and was just, talking, real good about everything. And, just lining up like against somebody like Peter Biondo, is one thing. And then, for your win light to come on, that's just a, crazy good feeling.
That is amazing. 0007 at the finish, man. That is like, we're talking, I could do the math, whatever. Whoever
it
the
ain't
leading,
much.
it ain't much. That you got to
Yeah.
convert that to miles feet per second, and
Yeah.
we're talking inches, if not 1 or 2 inches. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Well, thanks so much, and congrats on that. You had to drive right by me. I lived here. I live here by Budds Creek.
Uh-huh.
That's how you drove right by me to get to that win. So not that I can take any credit for it.
Yeah.
Let's go out to Johnny and Johnny B, John Bockelman. Who's out there on the chat line tonight, sir? And what do they have to say?
Well, we're here from coast to coast tonight, and everybody's just thrilled to be back on drag racing live again. And y'all are giving us a terrific interview. This is fantastic.
Thanks.
And while y'all were talking, I was being attacked by a Texas-sized mosquito here. He got me 3 times, and the mosquitoes in Houston wear cowboy hats and boots, and he really did a number on me. But yeah, we have Rob McCabe is with us tonight, and he gave us some great information about Brooke's win Friday. He said Brooke won the top dragster Diamond Wally this past Friday at Cecil County. She beat the Terminator, Peter Biondo, and Bertozzi's dragster to win. Raced him twice during the weekend, splitting the record, one each, when Peter won in round 2 at the Chesapeake Sports Nationals. He also added, he said, top dragster has so much, especially the rise of the baby blowers combination that some use. Do y'all use a blower on your top dragster?
Yeah, we actually just switched over to a baby blower combination earlier this year.
Yeah, it's a high helix baby blower, 250.
But we've only got like 3 pounds of boost on it. We're running very minimal boost right now.
Right.
Yeah,
So
we
you don't-
put we was probably running about 5 pound and 5, 6 pound probably at Darlington, and we went some 420s.
Yeah, some 420s.
Yeah, and I in the eighth of mile, so we can juice it, and he'll go up to 10 pound of boost if we need it to. So we can hop it up a little bit if we need to.
Right. Well, it's a huge achievement to win a Diamond Wally, and congratulations for that. Y'all are a great team.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And everybody's just pretty much, well, let's see. Rich Panicaro asked if everyone heard about Maple Grove closing. And yeah, they said, Rob came in and said New Media, Cecil, and Island are now the options in the New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Maryland area, as well as US 13 Del Mar. That's for y'all's information on that.
Mhm.
And I added, that looks like an IHRA is done for. So,
Yeah.
just keep going. But man, y'all are doing great with NHRA.
What's his name now?
Krisky.
Yeah. Yeah, we had heard some rumors there at Cecil County that Koreski may get Maple Grove back, maybe do a breach contract deal with IHRA. But obviously those are rumors. You just don't know what to believe. But after hearing that, maybe it's true. Maybe they've closed and maybe some type of breach of contract, and maybe he'll be NHRA next year.
It is big money, and so I have some folks very close to me, about 25 miles away, who sold their track, and then the money didn't clear, and then they got the track back, and it went through several rounds. And of course,
Right.
it's great to see Royce owning Budds Creek again and doing a great job. But yeah, fingers crossed. We need, Maple Grove's a great track.
Oh yeah, I love Maple Grove.
Well, all right, John. Thank you, my brother. Any questions you had while you're tending to like your Texas-sized mosquito there?
Yeah.
We're caught up for the moment on the chat with y'all.
Excuse me. All right, thank you. So let me ask you all a learning question for the racers out there. If there's something you want to share, you've both accumulated a tremendous amount of sports and racing knowledge. Is there any, for our racers watching tonight? And by the way, I'll share. I always brag on them because most of the folks listening are racers themselves or involved. And Rob McCabe, who was talking about your car, he's our resident data analyst and puts together raw data for the drag racing list. But for the folks listening tonight, is there one thing each that they could kind of start doing at their very next race that maybe would make them a better racer? Do you have some kind of thoughts on mindset or something like that might help them?
Yeah, the simple thing is the mental aspect you bring to the game, mentally. You have to believe that you can win every race, and like I said, just do what you're good at. Just because you're racing someone as like we discussed, a Peter Biondo or some of the best in the country, you don't want to change your game to try to beat them, because now you're doing something that you're not comfortable with. So the mental aspect of it and just the basics, try to keep everything very simple from gathering a routine to the breathing part of it to the staging part of it. And then seat time, get as much seat time as you can, just go out there and race, bracket race, whatever it may be, and try different things that works for you. What works for me might not work for you, and you have to be comfortable in a race car, to win. So you got to figure out what's comfortable for you, and then and just have fun. Main things, have fun.
God, and Brooke, that guess that's your role. You said that's your happy place, and you just like do your thing.
Yeah, it took a lot of I used to be a very, routine person. If I got thrown out of that routine, it was just downhill from there. But I had to learn real quick that, people look for those type of things. If they know you like to stage last, they're going to make sure you stage first. If they know you like a certain lane, they're going to try and put you out of that lane. So it took me a while to, with again the mental aspect, to get all that through my head that there's only two options, two lanes of a racetrack. You're not always going to get the lane you want. You're not always going to get to do your routine the way you want to. But once I figured that out and got used to that, as long as you don't send me down the middle, I'm good with whatever now.
Yeah, I got a good little story on that. I think Jeff had went and ran. He was running stock somewhere, maybe at Atlanta, and we had came maybe to the Fling, maybe, or it was a race at Galot, and I was setting her up. She was driving my dragster, and she like maybe on race number one, she always wanted to stage first, and I was setting her up, and she took a couple bumps, and then all of a sudden she just took a lunge trying to stage, and she was like 30 red. And she come back, she's like, I didn't feel like I was that bad red. And I said, well, you wasn't, you probably let go on time. I said, but you're three above too. You just slung that thing in there, and I said, look, if you want to drive tomorrow, I won't let you. You got to drive my way. I said, you're going to stage last every time, and you're going to bump it in. I said, we're going to get over to staging first deal, And I said, we're going to run the lane that you don't like, because she was kind of favored towards one lane. So, and she said, okay. I said, we can't set you up if you don't stage the same every time, and the car ain't going to be as consistent. And this was early on in our relationship, so I mean, she's either going to stay with me or leave. I don't know, but yeah, she ended up. I think she ended up going to like it was paying like 50,000, 60,000. I think we quarterfinaled. She quarterfinaled that race, and when she got beat, she was 00 and dead on, I think, and lost.
Right.
And so ever since then, that got her over the fear. She don't care if she's first or last to stage, and she don't care what lane she runs. We have a game plan for whatever. So, and the same thing when she stages first, she never gets on the button until the other person stays. That way, she's on the button about the same time, whether she gets in first or last. She's not just setting up or holding the button the whole time. So that keeps us more consistent as well. And maybe for the listeners out there, that might be another little secret. That they can do, especially top bowling.
Right. No, that's great. Well, a true sign of intelligence is being able to make adjustments when new information arises, right? So
That's right. I always said, you know, good drivers, they win and stuff, but great drivers make adjustments and then win, and that's what we always strive to do is we can't be afraid to make those adjustments in the middle of a race or final round or whatever to give us the best chance to win. So that's what we do.
So great. Well, let's talk about some shout outs and the people. We talked about a lot of the people behind your success. But you got family members, crew sponsors, or car owners and friends. Who's the people out there making Foley Racing successful for on both sides of the team?
Like I said, my dad is an absolute godsend. He builds all of our motors. He keeps everything going. A lot of times, when we have back-to-back race weekends, I'm a nurse, so I work 12-hour shifts. So
Wow.
a lot of times, we'll get home Sunday night from a race. I got to work 3 12s Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and hop in the toter home when I get off work Wednesday night to be gone for another 4 days racing. So if it wasn't for my dad keeping up everything that he does, definitely wouldn't be able to do this on the level that we do. My mom watches, we have 2 boys. My mom watches our boys and helps out with them while we're at the race. So I get to play and be mom in between rounds, but then I know that my boys are taken care of and I don't have to worry about that. Like I said, our buddy Neil Hobbs, he is amazing too. He helps us a lot, and he got him a race car so he could come with us, and he's been enjoying it. Mickey Thompson Tires has been amazing to me. I definitely couldn't do what I do without them either.
Car won't be as good either.
Yeah, car definitely wouldn't be as good either because I was not on Mickey Thompson's to start with, and we had to make some adjustments, and I've been with Mickey ever since, and I have no plans to go back. It's a smooth 185 miles an hour.
Yeah.
M&M race cars also. I have a 2019 M&M car, and Foley had an M&M car, the first one I started driving in Top Dragster. And that car's been nothing but good to me.
Yeah, I drove several different dragsters before I got the M&M. I drove I really like the Mullis cars and the Miller cars. They're really good, and any of the cars now are good. But when I was living in Kentucky, I was racing at Bristol quite a bit, and Barry Brown approached me. He was in with M&M and had a couple M&M cars and wanted me to drive one, and we had a really good relationship and a good team, and I drove one for him for a couple years and ended up just buying it off of him. But that those cars are so good. You just see really well out of them. They work really good. Doesn't matter how fast you go or how slow you go, they're going to repeat. So and like I said, shout out to Barry Brown. He's always been really good to me. I know if I ever need a car, I can always just call him up, and if he's got something available, and Brooke too, he's gonna let us have it. Even if it's just for a weekend. If I'm just making a trip to Kentucky to see my family, and Bristol's running because he lives local in the area, I can call him and say, "Hey man, you got something for us to drive?" And he'll say yeah, or he'll find us something. And David Collins with Collins Trucking. I drove for him a little bit, and got a good relationship with him. If I need anything, I know I can call him and say, "Hey, do you want to go do this?" And man, he'll be ready to go. And so very thankful for him, and also obviously our car owner Darren Poole Adams Racing, Veronica. They've been really good with us and my son. They're sponsoring my son as well in the junior dragster ranks and rocket racing deal, and that's what we've always called Veronica's. When our boy was young, he couldn't say Veronica, so they always called her Rocket. And I said, yeah, because his cars is always rocket fast too. So we got a little rocket racing deal going on, and he takes care of Langdon, and so very thankful for him. HPX, the High Performance Expo, also where we met. Really thankful for those guys. Lucas Oil, good year. Just all the Jags, especially Jags has been really good to us. If I need anything promotional out of anything, I can call Jags up, and it's they're just really, really good people to work with. I know them on a personal level, and I've been fortunate to drive for a lot of really good people and good drivers. Luke Bogacki, I've drove for him. I've drove for the Richardson, Scotty, and Edmund, and just very fortunate to drive for a lot of good people. So drove for Matt Cook. He's got a sweet little Vega wagon now, and Probably got one of the nicest. He's probably got the nicest door car in the country. Now he's got one of the nicest dragsters in the country too. So just I mean, it's just there's so many people you can't never get all of them in, but yeah, just very thankful. We got from the time I was 15, 16, I met a guy by the name of Rodney Fincham and Jake and Jerry, and just we've always bracket raced together, and we got a little group chat, and he makes fun of me now because I'm just on NHRA Stalker, tour, and I don't talk to them guys no more, but no, just those guys make it so much fun, so that's like I said, this the people you're around we're around a bunch of really good people, and when you surround yourself with good people like that, if you want to do well, you can, because you'll learn a lot.
That's so great. Well, man, oh man, that's a high praise indeed, and a lot of great names there. Many of which who have been on our show. So I'm really glad to
Mhm.
get you on. You're bringing the
Awesome.
talent, the friendship, and the attitude.
Yeah,
And
yeah. Well, like I said again, we just love it. Love all those guys. Obviously, we surround everything we do. We put the Lord first in our lives, and we're very thankful that we're able to do what we do, and we have the health to do what we do, and the funds and the backing and all that. We're just so thankful and blessed to be able to do it together. It's just such a it's so great. We kind of we um we kind of look at it when we go racing. It's kind of like a mini vacation too, because we're traveling, and we're going to Texas and Florida and Maryland and Ohio, all over the country. So we get to see a lot of the country through racing that people don't ever get to experience. So we're very grateful and blessed, and give him all the glory for that, for sure.
absolutely, so great. Well, where's your next race? Where can folks come watch you race? I know that you've got more races coming on board.
Yeah, well, yeah, obviously we may hit up the bracket world a little bit, just local stuff. But our next race is going to be we're going to be at Rockingham in September.
Rockingham National.
Rockingham National. Really looking forward to that. It's the first time that they've had a professional NHRA professional event. I think before it might have been IHRA, maybe
They
some
have had IHRA national
invitation.
events, yeah.
Maybe some invitational stuff, maybe,
Mhm.
but yeah, so I think this is the first time it's going to be there, and uh, the promoters there are good friends of mine, and they've worked really hard at trying to make that place really good, and it's looking really good. I mean, if you haven't been to Rockingham in a while, when you roll in, you're going to see a difference.
Wow.
So I'm excited for them. I'm excited to go. I'm excited to be there. Um, and we'll all be racing. Brooke will be there. My father-in-law Jeff will be there, and her uncle, I think, will be racing. So we'll have a lot of family there racing. Um, so looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Sounds good. Enjoy. Well, let me ask you one last question. I'll ask Brooke,
Sure.
but feel free to jump in, Steve.
Sure.
So obviously the great Bobby Warren, your granddaddy, back when sportsman racers figured out combinations of notebooks, experience, and instinct. You're competing now in the an era of data acquisition and incredible technology. What do you think Bobby Warren would think about all this stuff, and how folks race today?
He's adapt really well, ain't he?
He has. When I first got a dragster, he hated it. It was nothing stock, super stock. He didn't want it in the shop. He said it didn't deserve a spot in the shop. Then when I moved over to Top Dragster and started winning, doing pretty well on Top Dragster, he's like, okay, maybe this isn't so bad. And then he was actually at Virginia last year when I won. He
Oh,
just turned
nice.
he just turned 92 in June.
Oh, bless his heart.
Yeah, so he was there to see me win that, and it's just it's made a difference.
Yeah, he's I mean, I love Bobby to death. Me and him, I always give him a hard time. He gives me a hard time. I'll come in, and I'll tell Bobby. I say I was at the race, and they asked me if Bobby Warren was my grandpa, and I told him yeah. And he said, Man, I'm losing status or something, you know. Said my level of status is going downhill, you know. And I said, yeah. So we're always aggravating each other, but I love him to death. He's such a, a great person, and you know, it's as for Brooke, you know, he um he loves to see her win and do good, but he loves to see her race. You know, we had well, in the business with the Warren engines, we have a lot of people coming through looking for turnkey big block stuff that they got to buy right now. And most of the time, the only thing we got running is what's on her car. And next thing we know, we stole her motor off her car, and she ain't got nothing to run this weekend. You know, so after we did that about 3 or 4 times, um, Bobby come through there and he said, "That girl's going to have her motor at all times in here. She going, you know." So we got a backup now. We actually got a couple backups, you know. So but yeah, she's going to have a motor for sure. He's going to make sure of that. But and then far like you said, as far as like the data acquisitions, all that, Bobby, also, you know, when Bobby started is probably in the 50s, you know, I think in the late 50s. I think he went to Daytona or whatever, but I won't get that deep into it. But you know, there wasn't any fuel injection and stuff back then, and then man, he adapted right over and started building the fuel injection car. So actually, the yellow car behind you there was the last car that he had ran in NHRA competition, and he actually won a national event in that car and was the oldest to do it for a long time, you know. And it's fuel injection. He adapted over to the fuel injection, and so there's pretty much nothing Bobby can't do, you know, and Jeff the same way. But um, he's really adapted, and I think the world of him, you know. But he's definitely going to make sure Brooks got something to drive from now on. That's for sure.
Granddaddy looking out. Well, drag racing royalty and making sure you guys are doing well. And Steve and Brooke, thank you so much for joining us tonight. What a pleasure to talk to you.
Thanks for having
Yeah, thanks
us.
for having us for
Have a
sure.
great rest of your season, and we'll catch you somewhere down the road.
Sounds good.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Steve and Brooke Foley. We'll see you down the road, sir, ladies and sir, man. Let me say farewell here. And with that, let me turn things over to Mr. John Bachman for this week's JB's Take and Racer of the Week. Hello, John.
Thanks, VP. My pick for Racers of the Week are Kendall and Noel Smith from Hunua, New Zealand. They're a father and daughter racing team representing the Great Wild Bunch group. Noel sent me great information about his and his daughter's racing, and I'm proud to feature them tonight. I'm going to deliver Noel's information in first-person context. Here goes. Kendall started racing at 7 years old in the first Wild Bunch Junior Funny Car. It was originally powered by a go-kart style two-stroke and Horton fluid clutch. The two-stroke and fluid clutch proved to be problematic and inconsistent and required as much servicing as the big car. So it was eventually swapped out for a four-stroke and CVT clutch setup, allowing Kendall to gain some consistency. With the final season in Junior Funny Car underway, the Wild Bunch crew got to work on the second Wild Bunch Junior, a 34 Junior Altered, which is her current car. Kendall had just completed her second season in the Altered, and with some great success, runner-up at the Junior Champs in 2025, runner-up at the Wild Bunch Dragster meeting, runner-up at the 2026 Junior Champs in both the Chicago Shootout and Pro Comp Little Legends. But the day that will never be forgotten is the 2026 Wellington Invasion, where Kendall just killed the tree all day with double O reactions through qualifying and eliminations and a triple O in the final to take home her first win. It was a massive day for the Smith family and, of course, a momentous day for Kendall and the Wild Bunch Junior program. All the hard work this season has really paid off, with second in the IHRA National Championship, which is a very proud moment indeed. Over the off-season, both Wild Bunch Juniors have received a bunch of upgrades. The Altered now has a taller roll cage, but at the business end, the engine is a 224cc Titan that has received a billet flywheel, conrod and pistons. A larger carb and manifold package will see a 51% size increase over the old setup. The cylinder head has been severely worked over and even made an appearance at New Zealand's famous March Motorsport. For this season, we expect a decent increase in performance, ET and miles per hour. Best to date with the old setup was an 11.7 at 56 miles an hour. For this reason, we hope to be in the low 11s and the high 10s at over 60 miles an hour. To complete Ryan's Wild Bunch Junior fleet, we have one more car to build, a 7.90 class alcohol-powered Titan with a Topolino-bodied Junior Altered. We now have probably 70% of the parts required. Due to its uniqueness, we will construct the chrome moly frame in-house. As with the Junior Funny Car, the Altered started as a traditional Junior Dragster and was severely modified to meet our requirements. For the future of Kendall's racing, once she ages out of juniors, we have a couple of options. My younger brother has a Bantam-bodied Altered in his shed, which has just been reframed in moly and set up for a small block Chevy. At present, with a bluer, option 2 Anarchy Funny Car is in our shed and could well play a part in Kendall's future. Only time shall reveal the truth. Start 'em young and make it fun. Now, a bit about me. I discovered drag racing in my late teens when a friend took me there for the first time. I'm now 56 years old and I've spent probably every summer there since. I've been fortunate enough to crew on some really cool cars over the years. Trevor Tyen's 65 Impala Wild Bunch car, Tom Richardson's 57 Chevy Wild Bunch car, good and dear departed friend Grant Briffault's blown big block Chevy front engine dragster, and his screw-blown big block Ford with billet Hemi heads in a top alcohol dragster. The Phoenix Fuel Funny Car that good friend Les Hurst restored with a KB Olds, but really wanted it Hemi powered as the car originally. I played a rather large part in the installation of the big Hemi and all the changes that came with it. I ended up being the crew chief on that car. The car has since been sold, had a new frame made, and hopefully JD brings it back out soon. I actually wrote a story on the whole transformation of the car called The Flight of the Phoenix. I still read it occasionally just as a reminder of what you can achieve if you set your mind to it. Nowadays we have in our shed the Anarchy Racing and alcohol burning 498 cubic inch roots blown Hemi in a Corvette bodied funny car. And I believe that is one of the most beautiful funny cars I've ever seen. It's behind my head here in the graphic. And let's see. We have raced this car on and off for the last 10 years with no budget and just trying to have fun. Due to a medical event in the team, we have been off track for the last 2 seasons, but are in the process of getting her back in shape and getting back out there for a bit more fun. I have also put another good friend on track in the super sedan class, running down in the low nines and having a fantastic time in a nostalgia alcohol burning small block Chevy. People that require a massive thank you is Ryan Shelton of Mr. Wild Bunch himself. I cannot thank this man enough. Des and Di Sheldon, John Nealand, Michael Franklin, Tony Gordon, Jason at Pixel Signs, and someone who deserves a huge amount of respect and credit, Kelly Smith, my wife, Kendall's mom, for everything she does, all the admin work for both racing and travel, the 2 chili bins of food and drinks, the crew uniforms, which she not only supplies but does all the logo printing, and for keeping Kendall watered, fed, cool, or warm, depending on the weather, and most of all, keeping Kendall grounded and focused. She's an amazing mom and wife. That's about it, mate. Thank you very much, John. Well, Noel, thank you for this great story. Kendall's Roadster is truly a drag racing work of art. We wish you good luck, safe racing, and the best of times in the future. Everybody stay safe and well. You are the most important part of this show, and we love you all. It's a great way to spend an hour on a Monday night together. And we'll see you all next week. God bless America. Back to you, BP. Oh, I thought I might add, Rob McCabe added tonight that only 114 subs away from 1,000 here on Draglist.
Yeah. Thank you, John. Appreciate it. Great to be back. And yeah, I just let everybody know that Denise and I were gone for 3 weeks in Europe. We had a great time. It was our retirement celebration. So we started in London, and we and then got on a cruise ship and went around the UK. And so hit both lots of Scottish ports. Hit lots of Irish ports, lots of Welsh and in English ports as well. Finally landed in Norway, which was awesome. But we got to go to Liverpool. So thought about you, John, as we were checking out where the Beatles were from, and went to the British Museum there of rock and roll. So good stuff. We had fun, but it's good to be back. Of course, now you can tell in my voice, as soon as I got back this weekend, I got the flu. So I feel way better now than I felt for 2 or 3 days, but we're going to push on through and get it done. So
Sounded
but
great, man.
thank you, sir. And like Rob was saying, the Dragless YouTube channel has surpassed 211,000 views and are now 886 subscribers as of today. So thanks. Keep telling your friends and let them know we're out here. You know, again, we came from having 300,000 on Facebook, but that's not where they let us do videos anymore. Although we are putting those over as reels, and Facebook keeps them up for like a month. So thanks to all of our amazing interns who help us put those things all over the place for social media. Let's talk about upcoming guests real quick. August 24th, next Monday night, Mel Roth of the Streetcar Super National Series. Looking forward to talking to Mel, that amazing event that they have out in Vegas every year. And on the 31st, my good friend Bruce Mullins, the top alcohol funny car racer, one of the quickest roots blown cars in history. He's trying to become the fastest roots blower car in history. He's got one guy to pass, and he's been one of the fastest roots blown guys for forever. He's got one guy he's trying to get past, and of course, beautiful, beautiful car painter. All his cars are works of art. And then September 7th is Labor Day, and I know Miss K's got a bunch of great names for me in September. After that, I don't have those ready right now, so we'll get to those. And really, that's a wrap for me. John, final thoughts for you from you on the show?
Well, Steve and Brooke gave us a fantastic interview, and I, I can't say enough good things about them. They're a great couple. They're a great drag racing team, and Brooke won a Diamond Wally. Man, that's the all-time greatest trophy you could ever have, and I was just really happy to have him with us tonight. And I want to wish my son Nick and his band Chiron X a good time tonight. They're playing in Louisville, Kentucky, and they're on tour.
Nice. Well, congrats to them, and you must be so proud. You're picking up the baton and taking it forward.
Well, it's not necessarily my cup of tea, but I've been a pro musician for 55, 60 years, whatever, and these guys are death metal, and but it's and I had my doubts about it, but I can tell you right away, they're one of the best bands out there. They are just really outstanding, and I also found out that the crowd that comes to see them are all a bunch of nice kids. I had a great time with them, and I'm looking forward. We're going to go. I'm taking the City Kings to see them on September the 3rd.
Oh,
When
cool.
they're here in Houston.
Awesome. Well, great. Enjoy. And let's do our final wrap. We do want to thank Steve and Brooke Foley for joining us tonight. They were unbelievable. So much knowledge there in the sportsman ranks. John Bachman, of course, my brother. Kate Turkelson, Sofia Roveda, Jeffrey Cormier, Uriel Yamashiro. And by the way, those two guys kept our reels going every single day while I was gone for 3 weeks. Jeffrey's rocking it. I mean, he's literally doing that the entire, taking the short, making it from the big piece, the big like 1 hour long interview, and sending them all out. And then Uriel is going through all the social medias and making sure that folks can find him there. So really appreciate you guys. Pete Mariello, my brother, excuse me, Rob McCabe, who has, I told you, a little bit of a thing. Rob McCabe's out there rocking and rolling. David Oakes, Bill Kloss, those guys doing amazing photos. Lots of great photo reviews on Draglist in my absence. I had internet. The ship actually had internet, which was awesome. So I was able to check in late at night or early in the morning. I want to thank also Melba Shore, Ron Toombs, John Mernon II, and Dave Waslowski, and of course Jeff Gilder, who got us started back in the day. Thanks to Nitro Alley for looking out for us at the track, and thanks in heaven to the big man Danny White, who we'll never forget. Please like, share, subscribe, comment. Let folks know we're out here. Tell your family, tell your friends. And then you can check in on draglist.com every day to see what's new. We put up something every single day. Find us on the Radio Bob Network. And finally, back next Monday night, August 24th, Mel Roth of the Streetcar Super Nationals will be our guest. Until then, it's been great seeing you again. I'll try to get 100% by the time next Monday night goes, and we'll see you then.